shade of green for the markets. It was a good start for the index and good end towards the previous calendar year because we managed to just about try and come back to the 26,000 mark. There's good amount of rebound which is happening. The best part is that the OI for both the indices are almost at the lightest in the last 1.5 or 2 months for the Nifty as well as for the Bank Nifty. And that tells you that maybe the market participants are going into a little bit more on the lighter positions, and that's why you're seeing the index a little bit more free flowing and not prone to too much of resistances. There was a mild jump in the open interest for the Bank Nifty, I think 5.5% rise in the OI for the Bank Nifty. The best part is that the put call ratio for the Nifty as well as for the Bank Nifty is now crossed at 1.2 mark. So I think that's an indication that we have come back from a bearish territory or maybe an underperforming territory to slight outperforming territory for the indices. I would look at 26,300 to 26,500 as a potential near-term target range for the Nifty.
Okay. And what about sectoral bias, Kunal? Because yesterday you had some of the lagging names also participate. Reliance, for instance, we finally see that once again come back to the fore. Eternal, which has been fairly beaten down, that was one of the top Nifty performers. Do you think yesterday's price action in terms of individual stocks should be read into, given that volumes were low?
Yeah, volumes were low, Aisha, but then the patterns for these stocks are quite formidable because you're seeing that these stocks are seeing follow through up move, for themselves. There are buyers who are, ready to buy into the stocks, even with a slight bit of a gap up for these names. That I believe is a very strong positive signal for the stock price. And I think the best part is look at the kind of stocks, I think maybe a 1 week, 10 days back, there was almost 84% of the stocks which were trading below their 20 and the 50-day moving averages on the Nifty small cap index. That number has dropped down to almost 50-55% for the small cap and the mid cap index. So that tells you that there's been a vast improvement across the mids and the small caps in the last 8 to 10 days, and the number is improving as in how we see the markets progressing on the slight higher side. So that I believe is a more encouraging sign. So you might have that phase where the volumes don't pick up, but when these stocks go into a mean reversion and when there are buyers, then once the volume comes back, these are the kind of stocks which tends to outperform very well.
What about some of these QSR names, Kunal? Those might likely be in focus. They've been in a long period of consolidation, no movement. Any traction that you're expecting to see on these ones?
So, I think both Jubilant Food, Devyani International, both of these stocks have been huge underperformers.
Yes.
But there would probably come a point where maybe the tide could turn for these names. Till yesterday there was no signal on the charts, nothing on the charts, no volumes, no patterns, no indicators which were oversold for us to try and preempt, whether the stocks are going through any kind of a major bottom formation. And what could also happen is that if these stocks open with slight bit of a gap up, because the patterns, prior was not very, very encouraging, you might see the stocks getting some bit of, selling pressure at maybe higher levels. So we'll need to see what is the new normal for these stocks, when they form a base for themselves. Jubilant Food is almost at 550. When you look at this from the 2025 highs, the stock has corrected from 750 levels. So it's been a decent 20-25% correction for Jubilant Food, and same is the case with Devyani International. So we need to see whether these stocks move up higher, in what volume patterns does it move up higher, and whether these stocks close at the high point of the day or not.
So Kunal, what stocks would you bet on and recommend our viewers trade?
So Eternal is the first stock which I would recommend as a buy. We were discussing this, I think, a couple of days back. The 275-ish kind of is a good base for Eternal from where the stock should try and go into a bounce back mode. So expecting that bounce back to continue for another couple of days at least for the stock. 293 to 95 is where I would keep the target range for Eternal. So short-term traders could look at a buy with a stop loss at 282. The second would be a buy on AB Capital. I think it's been a fantastic chart, a fabulous previous year for AB Capital, where the stock clocked more than 75% plus returns, still continuing to look attractive about the 350 levels and even crossed the 360 mark yesterday. So would look out for 370 as a fresh target, stop loss at 355.
Okay.